is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for
Glaze,
you?
glazing,
Not pleasant, I
It's
have to
not
be honest.
pleasant.
glaze.
I said there was
I
blood. I
mean,
had
being
more
shot is
blood.
not
I didn't
much
know I had.
fun.
I
He's
didn't know
doing
I had
tricks
that
on
much
it.
blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get
A
hit.
very bloody
But
place.
in this case, it was probably the.
We go after people who are tax cheats, mega corporations. Oh, here. This was the thing that I was. Oh, the Spaces is up already. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's starting. I'm in. I'm in early. I'm requesting to speak. Hello. Hello. Too many requests have been spent. It's already breaking. It's already breaking. Oh, it's gonna break. Oh, if it bricks, I'm bricked up. I'm bricked up in anticipation of this bricking. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I can't wait, dude. This is fire. Wait, is it audio only? Oh my god, it's gonna be audio only. Oh my god, I forgot they don't have. Oh my god, I forgot there's no visual. Oh my god. Oh, he's so bad. Oh, this is so sad, dude. Oh, this is so fucking sad. Holy shit. I requested to speak. It won't let me. Too many requests to speak have been sent. Please try again later. Who the fuck is Nabil Abi? Bro, stealing my fucking steez, dude. For the record, we can't even gamble for the crash because it's already crashing. It keeps going in between, in and out of details not available. I'm going to reply to him. I'm going to say, sir, I've requested to speak on behalf of red-blooded, patriotic Americans, but the Elon Musk website won't let me. Insane they never learn from Ron DeSantis. Team Trump, this is the biggest interview in history, and now we're asking you to make the President Trump's biggest fundraising day ever. Before this interview is over, we're calling on, what is this? We're calling on 10 million patrons to donate any amount and proudly say, I stand with Trump. Desperate. So desperate. Donald J. Trump post from his Truth Social. It appears Elon Musk and Donald Trump interview on X is being overwhelmed with listeners logging in. The last information we have heard is the interview should begin in less than 20 minutes. Thank you. We tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. It's so good. It's so perfect. It's so fucking perfect. Oh my God, I love it, dude. It's so stupid. Never fail, Republicans. Never fail. Oh no, the Harris campaign is taunting Trump on his social media platform. True Social reposting the critical comments he made after DeSantis' campaign announcement was plagued by similar technical problems. That's the other part. It's loser shit. It's loser shit to do this. And Ron DeSantis did this loser shit. And Trump rightfully fucking... Oh,
All right, hello everyone. My apologies for the late start. We unfortunately had a massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and it's now time to
you're
proceed.
such
But
a bitch.
as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, um, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. Um, and this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who
Yeah,
just
they're
trying to
all...
make up their mind.
Yeah, open-minded independent voters like Hitler
And
Groiper 48
so you can understand like what
and
is
every blue check mark
what is it
crypto
just
guy.
like to have a conversation. So um, honored to Donald, great uh, to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually, those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And
Yeah.
so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on
Why
breaking
does he
every
sound like
record in the
he's
book
eating?
tonight. That's great.
Well,
Is he
thank you.
eating?
Well, I mean, maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. Um, you, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, um, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, I mean, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as
It's such a dumb
the
idea not to
president of the
do
United
this in video
States
form.
for
I know.
having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for
Glaze!
you?
Glazing!
Not pleasant, I have to
Not
be honest.
pleasant.
Glaze!
I said there was blood. I had
Being
more
shot is
blood.
not
I didn't
much
know I had.
fun.
I
He's
didn't know
doing
I had
tricks
that
on
much
it!
blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get
A
hit.
very bloody
But
place.
in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about, because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation, and I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear,
Yeah.
and because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, "Bullets, bullets!" Get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly, and we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. the bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit.
Boo, we
It
don't
hit me at
care.
an
We
angle
forgot
that
about it,
was,
old man. Nobody cares.
far less destructive than any other angle. A fantastic family and a fantastic man.
I
and
think
a
I
friend
think
of
he
mine came
sounds
up,
like he has a lisp
Elon,
right
and
now
said, "I'd
because
like to
of
give
the audio
his family
compression
some
issues,
kind of,
probably.
help." And I
Which,
said,
I mean,
"That's
it
great."
doesn't
He
play
said, "Do you
well
mind?" I said, "I
to
don't
a
mind
guy
at
like
all."
Trump
And
who
he wrote
cares
out a
about the
check for $1
optics.
million, gave it to the wife, and
Yeah, see?
she said, "This is really nice,
Top end
but
is
I'd
fucked
rather
up
have my
because the audio
husband back,"
compression, it
which
does that
is
to
a
sibilance.
nice thing for
Sure.
somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great, and we raised a lot of
Yeah.
money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people. Also, they were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two. Eric, and they can't believe what happened. But they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf,
Yeah.
sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah. It's not a tough
No,
shot.
it's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had
I
a
think one thing that
triple
people
barrel
fail to consider is that Trump actually performs really well in adversarial interviews because he gets like bitchy.
it's hard. I
And
have
when
to
it's a
say this
glaze
about the
sesh,
Secret Service. When
and
I
I've
went
listened to
down,
so many Trump glaze sessions with Sean
I went
Hannity
down
where
for
he
the story,
sucks
I
them,
think they're screaming.
like he gives him that
And
good
other
suck.
people also, because
It's
people
very
feel that.
boring.
You know, you had so many people. One of the miracles
It
was
comes
that
across
nobody
as like a
ran.
very
I mean,
boring, low
when a
energy
gun goes
back and
off, the
forth.
draft control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. Again,
This is a
hurt his
good
ankle
take.
very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon.
This
So
is a good take on the
what they
dynamic.
think
Elon
is
wants
that
Trump to
this
say
guy
this was a
ran to his
conspiracy by
side,
the deep state or
which he had
potentially
all
like
planned out with
DEI
the gun.
and was allowed to happen, but that's
He
not
ran
actually
to the
convenient for
site,
Trump.
and
He
he
wants people to
started
think the killer
shooting
was super
fast,
skilled
and
and
maybe
survived
that's
nonetheless.
why
He's defending the cop who
he
got scared by the kid
was
on the
thought of
roof.
missed. I mean, you know, he
Yeah. But
he
as you
got
said,
me, but
he
it
would have
could have
hit.
been
I mean,
and happy and
Let me get
thrilled,
my
and the
shoes.
place went crazy.
Oh my
It was
God, this is
pretty
what he
amazing.
looks
yeah.
like right
It
now.
was a
Well,
terrible thing, but it
it
was
was
really nice.
incredibly moving. Yeah. Um, well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn
He's
that
so fucking cute.
saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration
Right.
slide. Maybe this
That's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that.
Honored
He
by
does.
it.
Trump has a
I'm
lisp.
honored by it.
Well,
Let's just start that.
well,
Trump actually has a lisp. He always is a body double.
what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with a
Well, I was
bullet?
going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go
Great.
back in October. We're all set up, and
There
the
ain't no
people are
way he's going back to
fantastic in
Butler.
Butler.
That's crazy.
It's a great area. Great. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler. And I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying,
As you were
prior to
saying,
being
exactly.
so
So,
horribly interrupted.
yeah.
But
Yeah, so rudely interrupted by an
yeah,
assassination
so it was,
attempt. Really not a
but
country unless you have a
correct.
secure border.
A lot of
And
people have talked
And
about
secure
how
elections.
Trump doesn't know what an asylum seeker
yeah,
is and
absolutely
thinks
secure
it's an
elections.
insane
And
asylum.
so
And I'm
it's
beginning
just
to feel
essential to
like
have a
that is
real
the
border,
case.
or we can't function as a country. And our service, our essential services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. As we were talking about earlier, I think compared having to other parts of the world, and in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's insane.
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our
What?
police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I
They're
hate
not.
to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it.
Oh my
I hate
God.
it, but you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're
I
allowing,
think you're
again,
right.
they're
Yeah.
allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had
Ain't
all of
no
them.
way.
As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers, they're taking, frankly, their prisoners, they're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're
Yeah.
delivering them into
But
the.
that's what Castro did.
Yeah,
That
well, he did on a
he
much smaller scale.
yeah.
It was a much smaller
Yeah.
scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. You know, this is migrant crime. This is
Bro,
crime
crime is down
that's
in
going to be.
Yeah.
America too,
And I saw it
dumbass. What the
today in
fuck
New
are you
York where
talking
somebody
about?
was knifed with a
Are we dumping our fucking
raped the
criminals to other
girlfriend of a
countries
man that
too? I mean,
stood
we
there
have done that in
watching
El
in New
Salvador.
York in one of the shelters and started
Sure.
pulling out the knives, and bad things happened today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for
Yeah.
murder and all sorts of things, and they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people, and it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because now she's trying to say she
Sure.
had nothing to do with it, and she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I
Right.
guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
had nothing to do where the problem
Yeah.
is. But she was the
Well.
border czar, and people
Yeah. Yeah.
can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was
Horrible.
totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known
Yeah.
what happened. You could shut the border down; he
Yeah.
wouldn't even know the difference. But uh, the
This is a good
fact is
line.
that she was
Not a bad
border
line.
czar.
Give him
But
credit
if
for that
you don't
one.
have to call
Yes.
her that, the fact is you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst
Right.
ever.
It's simply not working.
No,
It's
it's
I mean
horrible.
whether it's a question of intention or competence. Either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie
The real
apocalypse.
issue is not the
And
border,
sometimes
but the top of the
you
hour
gotta
ad
sort of
break
wonder,
and
like,
avoiding the
is it
top of the
real or
hour ad
not?
break by
So
subscribing.
because you
Many
see
people
things,
don't
like,
want to
is it
know
real?
this. Many people don't want to
I
do
went to the
this.
border at Eagle
But at the
Pass,
top of
and
the
I
hour,
saw
there's a
for
3-minute ad
myself
break. If
in
you no longer
Texas,
want to
and I
see
was
those
like,
ads, if you want to
okay,
uninterrupted
it's
broadcast
real.
experience, you
I'm
got to
like seeing this in
subscribe.
real time. I actually posted the video like just live.
Which you can do for
I just flew there
$6
one
or
day
for
and
free with a
just to
Twitch
see,
Prime
hey,
or by getting gifted a sub. Twitch
is
Primes
this
are free,
made up or real?
folks.
And I'm just seeing
Here's
people
a 3-minute ad
stream
break
across the
now.
border, and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly. So
These are
people
Who
people.
do you
can
want to
look at
win,
my
Trump?
video and
I'm not
say,
sure
hey,
about
Yeah.
your standpoint, but you
these
surely
people
must
look
have an
friendly. I
opinion.
don't look super friendly. So
These are people that
um,
Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And the caravans are coming in and they're putting and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing
yeah,
it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them, but these are people that are non-productive. They are just non-productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not
yeah.
workers or they don't want to work or whatever. And these countries
Bro,
are getting rid of
you have two
non-productive
fucking
people in the
spoiled
caravans.
billionaires coming from fucking multi-millionaire billionaire parents talking about how like the random Guatemalan dude that crossed the fucking border, trekked for thousands of miles to work for pennies on the dollar is unproductive.
Ad just before I
Shut
got on
the fuck up, bitch.
walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala
What are you
saying how she is
saying?
going to provide.
Anyone that believes this narrative is the dumbest fucking rube and deserves to have all their money stolen by these fucking dipshits. Straight up.
Yeah, I think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another 4 more
Like, we're
years
literally on the
of
website of a guy who is demonstrably an incompetent asshole
with another 4
who
years
bricked the
to
fucking
be
website
worse
that was at
than
least
for the
usable
past,
before.
3.5 years, I'm not sure we've got a country
You don't
left
have a country
at that
left.
point.
Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. We think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, the four. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from
Yeah,
everywhere. And I had to stay in
yeah, I think
Mexico.
this is a super important
Yeah.
point. Like people, it's like
No money
basically
for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil, but they had no
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
and Israel
Why
would
am
have
I so
never been
quiet?
attacked.
It's just like I'm in
Zero
utter
debt.
disbelief
And
of
again, I said to
how
Vladimir Putin, I
similar
said,
this is
don't
to
do it.
every fucking
You
Trump
can't do it,
ramble
Vladimir.
rant.
You do it, it's going to be a
He's
bad
just
day.
literally
You
cooking up the
cannot do it.
same exact
And
fucking
I told
nonsense.
him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said,
Yeah, I'm
way.
quiet because my goats are
And you know, it's the
talking.
last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. You know, getting along well with them is
I
a
can't
good
believe I
thing, not
still
a
haven't
bad
gotten
thing.
a
I got
bingo.
along well with
Yeah.
Kim Jong Un when I met with President Obama just before entering. You know, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, "What's the biggest problem?" He said, "North Korea." I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and all the different things,
Yeah.
but all of a sudden I got a
Those
call.
some
Oh,
those were some epic tweets, by the way.
yeah, they
Those
were
were
no,
like
they were
Oh,
epic.
really.
Everything he said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger, and my red button works. And then I called him Little
Yeah.
Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden I got a call from him
bingo.
and they said they want to meet. They want to meet me, and we met.
Yeah.
As you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam,
Epic tweets.
and I got along with them great. We were
Yeah.
in no danger. But
Yeah.
President Obama,
It's
President
because
Obama thought
they
we were going to
respond.
end up in a
Yeah.
war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's
Yeah.
got a
It's not
lot of
true.
nuclear
Yeah,
stuff too. He's
exactly.
got plenty of nuclear.
It's
He can do plenty of damage.
it's
So
yes. I mean, it's because I mean, people like Kim Jong Un. They respond to
yeah,
strength, not weakness.
well,
And
he and I got it.
if you
He and I
project
had a good
strength, they
relationship.
you're yeah.
Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Let's
That
Another
bring
was
up
cool.
established
Secret
that there was
Service
a
again. I wouldn't say they
99%
were
chance
thrilled when I
Elon was
did that.
lying
I
about an
walked onto his
attack.
land, and
Yeah,
it
the
was an
rest of the
amazing
website was
period.
working fine.
But we were not in danger with him because of me. I always
Yeah.
say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside.
When
We
you
have
ask the
some really
question, I
bad
can't believe
people
there
in
are
our
people that
government
would vote for this guy.
and
Yes,
people that
dude.
are and
Think about the
controlling
worst person
the
you've
people.
ever met
I mean, I'd
in your
mention
daily
names, but
interactions.
I really don't want
Like
to give
just
the
an
credit.
overall
But we have some really
repugnant,
bad, and I say they're more
awful
dangerous
dude who's
than
just angry all the
Russia and
time.
China.
Why wouldn't he
If
vote for
you
this
have
guy?
a smart president, a president that gets it,
There's
we are
plenty
not
of
in
dog shit
danger from
people
those
out there who
countries
are like,
because
yeah,
they
this
need
is
us and
great.
they need
Oh,
our
I
help.
love him.
I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden, and
Did you
Bush
see
to a
End
certain
Wokeness
extent,
is
in all
Jack
fairness,
Posobiec? He accidentally
forced
posted a Jack tweet
Russia
on it and deleted it and
and
then posted on the
China
correct account right after.
together.
Please tell me you
And
logged
if
it.
you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat.
Yeah.
The biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise one eighth of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries
What?
now that
Yeah.
have significant nuclear
Elon
power,
said what?
and we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left,
Nuclear
and
warming.
then after I left, they started
It comes
forming
after nuclear
big
winter.
armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war would have been That war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything
Yeah.
the opposite. Everything the opposite.
Someone should remind him he's not running against Biden.
Many more people have been killed in Ukraine.
I think he forgot. He went back to his old speeches so hard.
Hey,
He's
look,
still
just in
cooking
the two
Biden,
armies, you
dude.
lost 500,000 people, and
Yeah.
and you know Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story.
I suspect he forgot.
If you think about it, Russia's gone. You know, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. You know, they've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force,
Yeah. So,
and it's
of course.
very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight, and we're in a very bad position. And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you, I could have stopped that, and a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it. It made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity, and it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from other
100%.
countries.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build
yeah.
an Iron Dome over us. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have protection because it just takes one maniac
Israel
to
won't let
start
us.
something. We're gonna have protection.
Sir, we have to ask permission for Israel if we can use it or not.
Some other places
Yeah.
have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But
I'm not kidding. I think he thinks the Iron Dome is literally a
But,
dome.
with all of that being said, to me,
There is a non-zero chance he thinks it's an actual dome.
But with
like
all
in
of
The
that being
Simpsons.
said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about
Like,
the
he was the
economy
president.
and the fact that
Absolutely
they
true.
can't buy
He has to
groceries
know we
because
have
they
like
don't have enough
defense
money to buy
systems
groceries.
already.
The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen, and it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a
Yeah, yeah.
forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on
No, they
you.
could not.
So they don't need
Wait, yeah,
Elon.
because he's sucking
need
you.
Elon
Like, yeah,
screaming
I'm
out
sure
questions.
Kamala would love to do a fucking non-contentious,
sad
non-adversarial
when you
conversation
think
with a random
that somebody
billionaire
that
that
does
loves
this for a
her.
living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes,
But the
absolutely.
big thing now is the
Well,
economy, Elon.
yeah.
And as much as
Yeah.
I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot
Wait,
of people
really?
don't
I asked the
understand
Trump
that. But
campaign.
it doesn't have to. If I understand it,
I
that's
asked
all
the
you
Trump
need.
campaign why the
Because
coup
if I was
attempted criminal
president,
former
you're
president
not going to
slurring
have
his
that kind
words
of a
and
problem.
lisping. The
But
campaign's response
the
must be your
thing that
shitty
they
hearing. Get
really
your ears checked
is
out.
making them angry is what Kamala and
There's
Biden
no
have
way
allowed
that's.
to happen to the
Is that guy a
economy.
real Huffington
It's a
Post
disaster
correspondent?
with inflation. The
Because that's
inflation,
crazy.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is each.
Yeah. A lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far
God.
more than it brings in, that increases the money supply. And if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services,
right.
that's inflation. So really, we need
Shut
to
up,
have
nerd.
we need
Shut the
to
fuck up,
reduce our
nerd.
government spending, and we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible?
Trump
Where is
also
it not
dumped
sensible?
boatloads during COVID. What the fuck
And
do
we
you
need to
mean? That would mean that it's
I mean,
Trump's fault that
we're
inflation is
currently
happening.
adding, I think, $1
The
trillion
fuck?
to the deficit every.
Dude, this is
roughly every 100
insane that
days.
Elon Musk talks about
And,
government
yeah,
spending.
the
Your
interest
entire
payments on
billionaire
national
status
debt
comes from
are now
government
exceeding
spending.
the
You
defense
literally
budget.
have never done
It's like on
a
the order of $1
singular
trillion.
endeavor that does not
And
require
it's
billions of
growing.
dollars of checks being written to you. Literal fucking green energy. credits
so important. You know,
kept
we
Tesla
had
afloat in times when they were literally about to go under. Oh my God!
Great job in that. Then we, by the way, then we gave 85 billion of it
Subsidies
back to
fueled
Afghanistan. If
the
you can
Tesla
believe it. We gave them
rise.
85 billion.
Your
they're one of the
brother
largest
and
sellers of
and
military
yourself
equipment in the
built
world.
a
They're
fucking
selling what
solar
we gave
energy
them.
panel company, again,
That
with
was
government
one of the most
funds.
embarrassing days in the
SpaceX
history of our
is
country.
a government
But,
outsourced
if you
operation
think
off of
about,
NASA.
let's go back to the economy.
I hate this
We have to
motherfucker.
bring energy prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline. Now
You
your
did
cars
not make
don't require
PayPal.
too
Shut the
much
fuck up.
gasoline, so you know you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to. When big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses? And their taxes are already really high. You know, the taxes are among the highest
Yeah.
taxes. You almost wonder how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job, and they're crime-ridden places. You wonder how do they continue to just go on? It's not. It's
Well,
I like
not.
the
A,
idea
I
of
think
simultaneously being like, these governors fucking
I mean, I
suck,
think
and
the
also
thing
they
that's
should
killing
handle the
this and forcing
education
some of these states to
and
change
not
is
the
that they risk
Department of
bankruptcy
Education.
and they're not getting bailed out by the federal
Right,
government.
right. Well,
That's
you're
the
going to
only thing
have
that's going to
that.
get them changed.
You remember the
Yeah.
area in California where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter, and it was very
Yeah.
nasty
Yeah.
for a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So you know, at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is, you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So you know what is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you know, you have people. I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of
Yep.
these, and some are very good, and some are just horrible. We've got to get the prices down. You know, when I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago,
Sure.
when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores,
Donald
people
Trump
go,
has
they can't
never
believe it.
purchased
They
food
used to be
at the
able to buy
grocery.
a whole cart, and today,
Like he's
a
never.
lot of people just
I don't think in his entire
have
life.
the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at
Yeah.
it's
Can you
sticker
imagine
shock.
him
They
walking
call it
into a
sticker
fucking
shock, right?
Publix? Like just
I
walking
think it really just
casually
comes
into a
like this
Publix,
just comes down to
even
two
before he
I
became
think
president.
really two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living
Right.
standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason. But unless you've got effective deregulation, like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had
The absolute dumbest people on the
really.
planet are
I mean,
listening to
it
this
didn't work
interview and
once
are
Reagan
going to be
made some
repeating
progress,
these
but I
like
think
basic,
this opportunity to make, I think,
fucking
radical progress
idiotic
with sensible
pro-capitalist
regulation.
fallacies
And
over and over
and
again.
if
Well,
those
Elon, we
those two things, yeah, those are the big
yeah,
deals.
we set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on
Like
all of the different
deregulation.
businesses
I
than any
wonder
other
why
president.
two billionaires have
Remember,
a.
I had the rule for everyone
Two
we put in,
billionaires
you have to
love the
get rid
idea of
10 or
deregulation. I
12.
wonder how that will
And
help
we
the
did
average
radical
person.
cuts on all of that, and a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things
The
that weren't
fucking
necessary.
Chevron
But
deference
we
getting
were
gutted
all set. You know,
has
we had the
caused
best
the
economy
U.S. Navy to
ever,
deny
maybe in the world. And
that
then
they are
what
actually
happened is
polluting the
COVID
water
came in,
with forever chemicals,
and we had to
PFAS.
focus on that.
Like that
Nobody knew what
literally
it
was an
was.
article that came out
And I always say I
yesterday
got
or
good
something.
marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, you know, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But if had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But
Yeah,
had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle income people, not only businesses. But we did it for
sure.
businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, you know, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a fortune, and then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what
Who
happened
do you
is
think
when
this
they came
helps?
in, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a
That's
1929
deregulation.
type depression.
Who do you
But
think
the
that helps,
problem is
chat?
when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. We got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. So you
But
sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to, but I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it.
Bro, I'm not
Everybody tried.
kidding.
Nobody
Like,
could do it. I got it
if there
approved.
were normal, if
The
this was
first
a
thing that
normal
Biden
market
did was
responsive to the key
unimprove it.
man,
To
openly
get rid of
fucking
it.
like
He ended it.
glazing an
His,
antagonistic industry that it's
his
like
secretary went in and
choosing
he
to
ended it.
destroy
And what
Elon
a
Musk and
disgrace.
Tesla.
That's Anwar.
Tesla
That's
stocks will be in the
bigger, or
fucking
they
pooper.
think it could
But
be
it is
bigger
not
than
a
Saudi
normal
Arabia
market.
in Alaska.
It does not
Could be
respond
bigger
to
than
normal
Saudi
market
Arabia.
factors.
But they
It is
went in and they
completely out of whack.
it, and I'll get it going very quickly because not
But can
only
you
is it
imagine?
big for Alaska. I mean, you talk about economic development. That for the United States. I mean, that is. They say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same
You look
size,
extra pale and maybe
and
stress too much. I
pure,
look extra
really
pale.
good stuff. And they end it. So I think we have perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows, but during that
Yeah. I mean,
time,
my
something will
estimate.
come around that will be
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my estimate would be, a little more uh, aggressive than that, but it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. Um, but I mean, my view is like if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. Uh, y- I mean, I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates if you start going from 2 or 3 to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like
Trump
that's
does
considered
not
like an industrial
understand
hazard, right?
this gay
So
nerd shit
so
that
it's
you're talking about. He's like, "What are you
that's
saying?
actually you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's
Are you a
even without
queer
global
radical
warming,
Marxist?"
it's not comfortable to live with. So we don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over and like,
I just
and
want to know what Trump
if
looks
I don't
like
know,
right now.
50
I
to
want to
100
look.
years
I want
from
to know
now,
so bad.
yeah, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay. Um, so it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think
I
it
like
is
the
something
idea that
we
we
need
should
to move
get to
towards.
a
And on
we should keep
on
fracking
balance, it's
until
probably
the
better to
air is not
move
breathable, as though
there
the entire
faster than
global
slower.
ecosystem won't
But like I said,
collapse
without vilifying the
like
oil and
a
gas
century
industry,
before we get to that point.
and without
What the fuck are you
causing
saying,
hardship in the
dumbass?
short term, I think this can be done without but people can still have a stake, and
Yeah,
they can
that's the
still
problem when the air
drive
becomes
gasoline
toxic
cars,
to
and
breathe.
it's okay. It's like it's not. I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. And I actually think solar is going to be a majority of
Something that
Earth's
would be interesting.
energy.
But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me,
What?
Sure.
that's an immediate problem because you have,
What?
as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear, and probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number one, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear very fast. They'll end up catching up. maybe even
Yeah.
surpassing. But to me, the biggest
Yeah.
problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem,
The
but it's
biggest
degrees.
problem is not
To me,
climate
the big
change, it's
problem is the
nukes.
nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great.
Wait,
And when I talk
Yeah. Yeah.
about
Nuclear power is underrated. It's
I'll
awesome.
prevent World War
wait, is he
Yeah.
III,
saying like,
I
is he
will.
saying
But
nukes
the
as in
truth
like
is that
weapons or nuclear
you have
power
to, because
plants?
this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is
Yeah.
a level of
Like, I feel
destruction
like
and
he's
power
playing fast and
that
loose
nobody's
between
ever seen
nuclear
before.
power and like nuclear
Yeah,
power
and
plants and then weapons.
there's the bad side of
I
nuclear,
think he
which is
means
nuclear
weapons,
war, very bad
but then
side. But
he like
there's
angles it in a
also, I
way
think,
where, like, does he
nuclear
think power plants
electricity
also have
generation is
Absolutely.
nuclear weapons
You're
underrated.
in them
right.
or something?
And it's actually, people have this fear of
Like, it
nuclear
doesn't make sense.
nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. Um, and if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining
Right.
operation. And there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done.
Yeah.
So that
Maybe they'll have to
We should
change some.
deregulate nuclear power plants.
There are some areas like
yeah, it's a rough
when
name.
you see what happened in.
Good bad
Right,
branding. The
we have to
branding's rough.
rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after
We
you or
should
something.
definitely deregulate
No,
nuclear power. That's
it
the
has a
one thing we
branding
should
problem. When
definitely
you see what
do.
happened,
It does have a branding problem.
when you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where there's a lot of bad things happened,
Wait, he's
and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad,
No, that's not true.
but you're
Well, no,
right
no,
about it. It's amazing.
it's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, like people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's actually it's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. Um, and and I donated
Trump thinks he's
a solar
insane for
water
this, by
treatment,
the way.
a solar
He's
powered
right.
system
He's
for a
not
water treatment
wrong.
plant.
But I don't
And
think
Yeah,
Trump
but you haven't been
understands
feeling
that.
so well lately, and I'm worried about it.
no, but I mean,
I'm only
There is
kidding. I'm
no
only
fine.
way you can
It's like
explain to Trump that what Elon Musk did right there is
Hiroshima
normal.
and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
right.
it's
Well, that's
clearly
great.
not
That's
something
great.
that
That's
um.
great.
So it's not as scary
There
as
is
people think.
no
Basically,
Well,
way Trump
um,
believes anything Elon is
let's see.
saying. Elon is
I
not
mean, are there some
wrong.
other topics we
Elon
could
is
touch
right.
on? Like
But there's
lawfare. I think
0% chance
well,
Trump
we need
believes
to
him.
be concerned
Trump
about.
probably
what
is looking
they've
at him
done
like,
to
you
this
got three
country.
fucking
Obviously,
eyes
Yeah.
right now.
yeah.
Well, we just won the big
I mean,
case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use local DAs, they use the local attorney
Yeah.
generals
He's like, let's move
like
on from
Fani,
this weird
Fani,
shit about you eating
spelled
radiated plants,
Fani,
loser.
Fani, and it's
yeah.
all a big hoax, and it's all run from there, like in
I
Manhattan.
think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses,
And then we get
even though
taken
like
advantage of on trade. So think
yeah,
about it.
well,
I
I mean,
love
the
that
point
they
of NATO is
called
defending Europe,
the
and
EU's calls for no disinformation being
like
spread in this interview
okay,
censorship.
why is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's unfair, and that isn't appropriate.
Elon, you're a defense contractor. You
Well,
know
when you
exactly
talk
why.
about
Well,
cost cutting and savings and everything else, I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than
Like,
I do
why
because
is
I know
America
what's never
paying for
happened.
Starlink
I
to
know
be
Zelensky.
deployed in
He was very
Ukraine?
honorable to me because when they
I
went with the
wonder.
Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and said, "Oh, he was very threatening." He said, "No, it was a very nice phone call." I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are
yeah.
lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russias and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah,
Now, they've taken advantage
yeah,
of us
absolutely.
incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with with false attacks.
Donald Trump literally
And
said he
you did
would
try to shut
shut
down the
down
news. You didn't try to
newspapers that wrote about him critically.
inhibit their freedom of speech.
He
And I
also
think
did
that says a
not.
lot.
He
Well, the
also
good thing is
greatly
that
accelerated the
you
Julian
and I
Assange
have, and some people,
proceedings
very
and
few,
tried to prosecute him
people
on
get the word out.
charges.
Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to
Like, no,
print it. You know,
I don't like Joe Biden. I
like we're
hate him. I
having a
said I
great
wouldn't vote for him.
conversation right now.
Julian Assange was
Kamala wouldn't
freed
have this
under
conversation. She can't because
under the
she's not
Brandon
No.
smart.
regime.
You know, she's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up on the first half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, "Where am I? Where am I going?" So anyway, but
Yeah,
no, he wouldn't have this.
that's true.
Not a lot of people would have this conversation, but you know, we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that you know, we can have a conversation, and
Yes, you
I'm
can actually
able
have a
to get it out
conversation.
without because I get treated unfairly
This
by
is a
the
really
press.
big point. You can actually have a conversation with you,
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
and you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like not it's not possible.
I
Yes.
like that they try to loop Kamala
So
Harris and
this is like talking to an
and
empty
Biden
seat.
into the
No.
same
So it's just
category.
Well,
Like
impossible.
they're
but think of
both
it.
mentally
We need a
fucking
man
decrepit.
or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the
Like
nuclear
I think
danger and all the
Kamala Harris is
dangers that I'm
capable of
talking
having a
about. And
conversation,
I got
dude.
along with all these. You know, I got along with Kim Jong Un. We had dinner. We had everything, and he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way, he's the absolute boss over there. You know, a lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he really?"
That's for
Let me
sure.
tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss.
Wait,
But
what?
we had a good relationship, and he doesn't like Biden. He considers him a stupid man. He said he's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But you know, in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it.
I
But I
don't get
guess
it.
you are.
Shouldn't
You should be
Americans
allowed to
like
say it if
Yeah.
it's true.
hate
But we
that? I mean,
need
I don't, but
we need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you imagine? Now you know
Yeah.
Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating, or
put some
No,
respect
it's
on my
even
silly. It would be
goat.
standing
silly.
together? It is, the whole concept
Yeah.
is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I
It
saw a
would.
picture of her
Yeah. Yeah.
on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a
The
drawing,
chairman.
and
Respect.
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
she looked very much like our great first lady, Melania.
No, no,
She
no. Get back to glazing G. Come
didn't
on.
look.
Yeah.
She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
Oh,
Yeah, well, maybe like I think part of what people in America want to, people in America want to feel excited
oh,
and inspired about the future. Want to
weird.
feel like the
It's
future
true.
is
That's
going to be better
weird.
than the
You're
past,
it's a
and that
weird thing,
that
bro.
America is going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past, reach
Right.
new
I gotta say,
heights.
this also
So I
further
think we're
proves
proud to be
that
an
Trump
American
is zesty and also
and excited about the
ace a
future.
romantic.
They want the
And
Like he
American dream
appreciates
back.
the aesthetics
You know,
of
they
Kamala
want the
Harris. I
American dream
swear to
back
God,
more important than
it's
anything
not
else.
even like a horny way of
It's
saying
like
it.
you don't have that today because the people, they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our. You know, the Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to
Trump,
be
my bisexual
incompetent.
ace, a
And when I
romantic
debated
king.
him, I was like, "Is this for real?" It was
Yeah, it was just absurd. But I think there are like some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think like we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We
right.
could build high speed
Yep.
connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport.
Bro, you literally
We,
fucked that
it's
up.
possible to solve
If he
traffic
says
with
boring
tunnels.
tunnels,
Right.
I'm
We've
gonna
already
put
made
myself in a
great
boring
progress in
tunnel.
Vegas doing that, and
It was an
and
abject
just do
failure.
things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw what you
Like,
did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing.
Other than
I got
raping
to
people,
see.
Trump ain't too
I
bad.
took a big
For
glimpse
the
at it,
record,
and it's incredible.
rape is not about
It's
sexual
incredible,
desire
and you
or
could do
sexual
that all over. You
gratification.
could do that all
It's
over.
about it's about
It's deep.
yeah,
You don't even
enforcing
need
your
much
power
structure,
over someone
assuming
else.
you're in the right area.
no,
It's
it's
about
It's
straightforward.
domination.
amazing.
So I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high speed rail between its cities, but
So
I
my
think it's
point still
actually
stands on
possible
the ace a romantic.
with tunnels if with deregulation with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels, then you could have high speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world, for high-speed transport between cities.
Bro
And
literally
that would be
cooked
something
high-speed
that,
rail in
you know,
California
Americans can say,
with the
wow,
with the
okay, we've got
fucking
something that's cooler
boring
than
tunnel bullshit.
anyone else in the
Yeah.
world. That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an
And
American.
much safer than surface trains, where there is a danger there. You know, with people, with crazy
Yeah,
people, it's much safer, much better. And you know, it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating, and I've seen the systems and how they work, and the
Charger the
bullet trains they call them, I guess. And they
yeah,
they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And
yeah.
it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also like there's you know I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something
On in
that
our country because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies. Nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list. If somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative.
yeah,
Okay. And
It's
as you
kind
know,
of
we got it
crazy
yeah,
done.
that
We have saved right to try. They've been trying
Donald
to
Trump
get
is
this
talking about
done
right to
for
try with a guy who has this
58
Neuralink
years, and
shit.
it sounds simple, but it wasn't
It
because
sounds fucking
I mean, you know,
insane.
the insurance
But Elon
companies,
Musk is a
nobody
real
wanted it, but
supervillain
we
when you
got
think
it
about
done.
it.
sure,
Somebody signed.
Like this
We
motherfucker actually
signed
wants to
a
chip people's brains, and all
document
the
that
right
you're not
wingers
going
that
to
talk
sue
about
the
how Bill
insurance
Gates
companies,
wanted to
the
chip
country. You're
people
not
with
going to sue anybody.
vaccines love
And we
him.
got it done, and we're saving tens of thousands
There's
of
perhaps no
lives.
better
Right to
demonstration
try.
of fucking
Hopefully,
cognitive
you never
dissonance than
need
a
it.
fucking
But
billionaire
if you do,
sociopath
you don't
trying
have to
to
travel
literally
to
chip
Asia.
people's
You know,
brains,
people, if they
talking
have
to another
money, they go
billionaire
to Asia.
former
They go to
president
Europe.
about how,
If they don't have
yeah,
money, they
we
go
shouldn't
home and
have more
die. That's what
regulation in the
happens. They go
medicine
home
field.
and
yeah.
die.
Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, they get more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did
Um,
something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years, and they
Yeah,
just
why
couldn't
would a
get it
drug
done.
be
And I got it
approved
done.
in the
And it's
EU
really
but
something.
not the
But you're
US?
right.
Think about
Some
it,
people go
Elon.
to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe, and it's a drug that, generally
Money,
speaking, would
yeah,
work.
money,
It's pretty crazy. But you're
absolutely.
right.
money,
And I think so, as long as people are properly informed of the
money.
pros and cons and like these are the risks, this is the risk, and like you make your own decision.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, I think just,
So
in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get
yeah,
nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many?
60
What is the number?
million?
Wow. What is it?
Someone corrected him and
well,
said,
Wow.
I think in
Wow,
terms of people
that's a
that
big, that's bigger than you said. You said 25, and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70. And I guess over a period of time, hey, I congratulate you.
what?
Do I get paid for this or not?
That's funny. That was
well,
good. That was a good one.
I think actually in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the next few days to
Right.
weeks, it's going to be hundreds of
That's what they
millions.
say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an
Yeah.
honor. Yeah, I just asked this, are you better off now, or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, we put out polls on that, and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it. And they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the
Yeah.
colleges over, I mean, it's ridiculous, but
Right.
all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden
Well,
migrant
yeah.
crime. Maybe I'll call it
Well,
Kamala migrant crime. But
I mean, with all these things, I always try to get
What?
to the ground truth by just asking people. And my mom lives in New York, and I was like, Mom, do you know, have you, any of your friends, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, three of her friends in three separate
crazy.
incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets of New York.
For being
And I
white.
and I said, well, what happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just
They
know that
always get away.
nothing's gonna. And they don't ever, and they don't even bother
The
reporting it
migrants,
because
they're so much
there's not.
better than
They
our
know that there's
homeborn
not. They're not going
criminals.
to.
They're
People
able
are not
to
going to get
assault and run
prosecuted.
away.
They just let violent criminals out in New York
The only one that gets
zero bail.
prosecuted is Donald
Why are
Trump.
you
They don't get,
laughing?
they prosecute Trump.
This
Yeah,
is
I mean
stupid.
it's just obviously messed up
Oh, it's terrible.
if violent criminals are being getting
This
off
is the
scot-free.
dumbest. It's like
And
two fucking
meanwhile,
dumb
the
bitches having this
New York spending
conversation back and
massive
forth.
resources
The fuck do
prosecuting
you mean,
And it's
dude?
like what this you know and I
What am
think
I supposed to do? Take him seriously? The fuck? It's a clown show.
looks at this and says, "What the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system." Um, the legal system is supposed to be protecting the
That's right.
public from violent criminals, and it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to some legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one. I mean, this is a very bad precedent what they're doing in terms of going after their political opponent, and that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent,
Yeah,
and then you get a judge who's a strong Democrat, and I'm being nice when I say that. In many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge, and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote, and you'll have a jury pool
yeah,
with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could
sure,
also be the other way, though,
of course,
because
Really
it could
fucked
start
up.
the other way in areas where they hate
exactly.
Democrats, and you get into a
Yep.
Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing. The country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a lot
I
of
think that's a
things.
very real
Yeah,
risk.
it's a big
That's a
risk.
very real risk.
Yeah.
And it's I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before, and if you look at my record, I've
What?
actually been
Bro, you're a
I'm not like
billionaire.
so they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and
You are literally a
solar and
Nazi,
battery
bro.
in the
You
environment.
literally retweet
And
Nazi memes on a
and I
daily
actually
basis. You follow
I
Nazis on the website.
I
You've turned this website into a
supported
Nazi
Obama. I stood in
shithole.
line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president, and so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed in the wool long
Oh my
term
God.
Republican. I call myself, uh,
Bro said Henry Ford.
Democrat.
I'm just like
And
Henry
now I
Ford. I
feel
just
like
want to make vehicles. It's
we're
so
really
weird that
back
they're
to
calling me
very
a
good times
Nazi
for
for the
country.
pamphlets that I'm writing and
And
disseminating.
I think a lot of people thought the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not. And obviously we're just going to see an even further left uh, administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. I mean, she was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google
True.
it. I mean, it's not a. We're not making this
Put
up.
some respect on Donald Harris.
That's how she was brought up. So, and we want to have a future that is prosperous. And I think we're just at this critical juncture.
I do love
And
these guys trying
and
to like
I think this is a
trying to
case
still do
of
this narrative where they're like,
the
I'm just a moderate.
America.
Bro, yesterday is like
gonna add a
immigrants
fork
are
in the
actually
road.
fucking
And
responsible for every rape
and I
that's
think
ever
it will
happened in
it will
England
take
and
if
should
we're-
be
if
purged
the
violently.
path-
Today he's like,
you
I'm
are the
just a
path to
moderate.
prosperity, and I think
Why are
Kamala is
people
the
calling
opposite.
me a
Then
far
that's my-
right
I mean, that's my honest
figurehead?
opinion. I'm gonna get attacked.
I
like crazy.
love
I've also
love
experienced
every
quite a bit of
time
warfare
one of these
myself,
fucking dumbass losers
but
unmasks
I'm just
themselves
trying to tell
because
people
it's
my honest
always a I
opinion,
told you
and-
so
and
moment.
I haven't been really active
You are
in politics
interviewing
before,
Donald
and
Trump,
I'm just
dude.
trying to point
You're
out
interviewing
that my
Donald Trump. What do you
track
mean you're
record
fucking
is
moderate?
been moderate, if not moderate,
You
slightly
cannot
left.
be fucking
And
moderate and
so
suck
this is to
Donald
people out
Trump's
there who are in
cock
the
at the
moderate
same
camp
time.
to
You're like,
say, I think you
I'm a
should support
moderate.
Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if they don't.
You can't endorse
if it goes the
Donald
other
Trump
way.
and be like, I'm a
Well, I want to
moderate. Why
thank
are
you.
people
And,
saying I'm far
I
right?
actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's
Yeah.
even more of an
Well,
honor to have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it. But when you think of her, be able to do that
yeah.
job without being destroyed.
Well, absolutely, and it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes.
This
And
this
then
makes me
you
blow a
arrest the violent
gasket, bro.
criminal,
The
and then
fucking fact that we're just like
VA,
the most pampered babies on the
doesn't
planet
prosecute,
are the
and they just
American
let the
police
guy off.
departments,
Well, then, like,
okay?
why
They
should
can't
a
do their
police
jobs
officer
because we
risk
aren't
their
respecting
life,
them enough.
uh,
We already give them
to
multiple billions,
arrest
dude.
a
What the
violent
fuck are
felon?
you
Well, even
talking
worse,
about?
If
Elon,
nothing's going to happen.
even worse, they
We
prosecute
need to double
the
suck
police
them. We need to
officers.
double suck them. Every time you see a cop,
They
you
go
have to
after
suck
and
them.
they
You
prosecute
literally
the
have to get
police
down on your
officers.
hands
They
and
take
knees and
away
go,
his
thank you,
pension.
sir.
They
Thank you
take
for
away his
everything you
job.
do.
He loses his family. He loses his house.
Well, I thought it was very telling, like incredibly telling, that when there was that case where sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times
Yep.
Square in New York, and and then nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think a bunch of them were given free tickets to
Oh my God, I
California.
can't believe they're still talking
Well,
about
what is?
this. Bro,
I
the
mean,
cops
that is
fucking attacked them.
that is a gross
They weren't
indignity
even doing
against the
anything.
United
That
States,
shit was
and
fake outrage.
that's how.
What the fuck
I
are you
mean,
talking
this is
about?
insane. Like, have we lost all
What are
pride?
they supposed to do?
That
Arrest them
how
for
can such
doing
a thing
nothing?
be
Like,
allowed to
what the
occur?
I've
fuck?
never seen anything.
My brother
We
is a
see
cop, but
where they
okay.
get
Bring him
shot,
over.
and
I'll
it's a
suck
very
his cock,
dangerous
dude.
profession, but
Bring your
some things
brother
are
over
very
here. I
proud of,
will
and they want to
suck
be able
his
to do
dick,
their
dude. I'll
job.
suck the
I've
soul out of
seen
his
them get
dick,
shot. I've
okay?
seen a lot of things, but I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally
Bring him over
boxing,
here.
like punching, stand-up fighting a police officer. There were two of them, and you
Yeah,
had about six
yeah,
of
yeah.
these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead if they did that. They'd be shot. They
Yes.
would be shot instantly. And you know, they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own
Yeah,
country, if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness. And
yeah. It's
it's
just
such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime,
we
by the way,
yeah,
because we don't do anything about
yeah.
it.
Yeah, we
Crime
just
is
cannot have
down.
a situation
Historic
where our
lows.
police officers
That's the reason
beaten
why we
up
have
on camera
crime.
by
Crime is down.
a gang
Historic
of illegal
lows.
immigrants, and
Like
then nothing happens
unimaginable
to
fucking percentages.
the guys that
Homicide was the
beat
only
up
thing
the
that was
cops.
up.
I mean,
And
and they're
even that
let
is
out.
down by like
This is
40% in Philadelphia.
Well, we're going
unacceptable.
to change it,
Um,
and we're going to get them out of the country. You know, when I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get them back because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries, so you couldn't land a plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much do we pay these various countries in terms of economic aid, which is also somewhat ridiculous? And the answer was
Guys, this is
$750
fake news,
million.
dude.
I said, good. Tell them they're in
The
default.
FBI is
They're
woke and
delinquent.
gay.
We're not paying them anymore because they won't accept
yeah,
it.
it's
And you know what
The
happened? They
FBI
all
crime
called me, every
stats
one
are
of them.
both
They said,
woke and
we
gay.
would be
Don't you
honored
know?
to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was
Just
so
like
easy.
when I
But it's one of
Just
those
like when I
things.
use
We got
Department of
we
Homeland
think it's
Security
but,
data to talk about
MS-13 is
fucking
probably the
like
worst gang
immigrant
in the world.
apprehensions
It's
or
the most vicious,
CBP data
violent.
for
We took them
migrant
out of here by the
crimes.
thousands
It's
and got them out
fake.
of here, and their countries
Data
took
is
them back.
fake. If you
And
look at the
because I
numbers,
said
you're a
we're not
nerd.
getting any
You're
more
a loser.
economic aid.
You must be a
And once
libtard.
I said that,
What matters is vibes
they
and
wouldn't take
fear
them back
and
to
panic.
Obama.
yeah.
They wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy, and they don't take him back anymore with Biden because they don't respect him.
Yeah, yeah. It's just gotta be done. We just can't have uh whether they're citizens or not citizens. We can't have because they won't prosecute citizens either. Not just illegals. So that if it's you can't have violent repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get
That's
incarcerated
right.
because they will obviously
Bro is
by
so horny to
definition
be racist. He can't even get his words
continue
out, dude.
to
Oh my God, Elon.
hurt people. And I think where part of this
The
comes from is
immigrant
that there's
crime.
and I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean, it's just that you want to have empathy for
Right.
people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy,
But
but
you
you also
can't.
have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You're one layer deep
That's the thing that
in
Americans
empathy.
have
You
too
got to say
much
like,
of.
what
Empathy
if
for
you don't
criminals.
incarcerate this person? Who are they going to?
What are you
Hurt.
saying, bro?
They might kill someone. They might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy
We
for the
have the highest
victims.
percentage.
And
We
there's a
have the
lack
highest
of
prisoner
empathy for the
density per
victims of
capita
the
on the
criminals,
planet.
and
Okay,
too much empathy for the criminals. It
25% of the
doesn't make
entire
sense.
planet's
That's
incarcerated
why you want to
is in the
have
United States of
deep
America. We
empathy
only make
for
up
society as a
4% of the
whole,
entire planet's
not
population.
shallow empathy for criminals.
Ridiculous.
And we have to give our
We
police officers
imprison
the
so
dignity and the
much.
respect that they deserve. And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job.
I love the
but we
idea
have
that
to let them
policing
do
is
their job.
shitty
And
in
if
this
we don't
country,
do
not
that,
because they're fucking major babies
it's gonna all disappear.
that have
There's never
qualified
been a
immunity
society
and
like
never
this
get
where
accountability,
you're
but
allowed
because
to
we're not
do anything
respecting
you
them
want
enough.
and nothing
It is one of
happens.
the
And
things
I'm
that
talking about
frustrates me so much
violent
because
crimes.
Americans
And it's
also
going
are
to
so
get more
stupid and they
violent because
love
these
the
are
police.
really, really
even though they
violent
are
people.
literally
And we're gonna get
so
them
bad
out
at their
of our
fucking
country,
jobs.
and we're
I
gonna
want
get
them to do
back
their jobs.
where,
I want them to
because they
actually
were
do their
sent
jobs.
here
I
by
want
the
them to solve
presidents
crimes.
and by
You know
the
what I mean?
various people that
That's
run
what we're
those
fucking
countries,
paying
and
them
I know
for.
every one
But
of
like
those
this
guys.
argument that
And they're
policing
smart
sucks in this
people,
country
and
now
they're streetwise
because we're
people.
not respecting
And
them
they
enough
really think that
it blows
the
my
USA
mind.
is stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there, we had no problem. We got them out. We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back. And now, again, it's the same old story. We don't do it. And they actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So, you know, it's. I hope everybody's going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country straight. And
Yeah.
I didn't need this. I'm like
Stupid.
you. I didn't
They're
need this. I
stupid.
had a very nice
Yeah.
life. I didn't need to go
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
court systems and go through all the other stuff and run at the
Sure.
same time. I have to run. I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life.
They're
I have
stupid.
great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places. You know, this was, but I felt it was important. And if I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again, because this is so much more important than me or my life. We're going to save this country. This country is going down. And these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're
Yeah,
going to
it's
stop
horrible. Like
crime,
the
and
facts speak for themselves. The
it's so
facts
incredible.
speak for themselves. Like it's gotten to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of
That's
cities
right.
because they know nothing is going to happen. Um, that's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is like we've got to have
He's
safe
so
cities.
fucking
We've got to have
unbearable,
secure
dude. He
borders.
is like,
We've got to have
he's lost
sensible
all of his
spending,
juice. He's lost all of his
and
sauce.
we've got to have
He's just like such a fucking
deregulation,
Right.
old,
and so we can have
angry
a prosperous
man.
future.
And
And then
now
we
he has
want
a
to have some
lisp
exciting,
somehow. I don't know what happened
sort of
there.
moonshot projects that people
He's just
get
fucking
fired up about.
unbearable.
And that's the future I'm looking for. And I'm pro environment.
It's
But
great though, because I
I'm not
feel like
against
everything that Trump touches is so toxic.
I don't think we should vilify the
Hopefully
oil
this
and
will
gas
cause a
industry
lot of
because
these like
they're keeping
holdout
civilization
centrist
going
liberals who
right
think
now.
Elon is fucking
And
brilliant
but I do think we
to
want to move,
recognize that he definitely is
a
not.
reasonable speed towards a sustainable energy economy. Those are my values, and I think, um, and so I mean that's uh, why I'm supporting you for president.
Well, I
So
appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're going to be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations. And we want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream. You don't
Something
hear
I'm
about the
fairly concerned
American
about
dream
is Elon
anymore,
will
Elon.
100%
You
use
don't
his
hear the
platform to call the
American
elections
dream.
a
It's
fraud when Trump
bullshit.
loses
But
and
you
or
don't hear
rig the
about the
election
American
beforehand.
dream anymore.
Yeah, no,
And
the
you're going to
fuck,
hear
he
about it.
can't do that.
People, they need that incentive to
Bro,
go out
in
and
order for him to
and
be
do
able
it.
to
And
rig the
they're
fucking
going to love their
elections
lives. I mean, they're going to love. They're going to
by
look forward to
significant
getting up
margins,
in the
he would
morning and
need the
going
platform to
to
be able
a
to
job that they
function.
love, not a
He
job
would
that
need to
they
be able to bring like
understand, or
actual
not
liberals and normal people
any
back
job at
onto the
all, where they have
platform.
no money. I mean,
Twitter's
that's where
revenue
they
has
have no
dropped
money, and then they end up
84%.
with
Its
violence and
user
lots of
base has
other
dropped
things. So
significantly
we're going to
since
do
Elon's
great
takeover.
things, and I
There's
learned a
no
lot.
like,
We had a great economy.
he's
All
running
of
it into
that.
the fucking
We
ground.
rebuilt the military. We did so much, but I also learned, and I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things. The people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington, D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never
There's
stayed
200 million
over.
sycophants and
And you don't know
effectively
people.
infinite
You
source of
rely
funds.
on other
Nah.
people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great people, but we also had some where I wouldn't have, used them had I known. Now I
yeah.
know everybody. And I think we're going to really turn things around fast. We have no choice. Otherwise,
Everything
we're not
Trump
going to
says
have a
Biden did to
country.
America,
And
Elon has
I
actually done
really
to Twitter.
appreciate this.
It's
To
also what
me,
Trump
it's been a
wants
lot
to
of
do
fun
to
being with
America.
you. You're
This is why I
an
always
amazing
use
guy.
the
You've done an
example like what
incredible
Elon
job
Musk has
and a
done to
great
Twitter
inspiration
is
to
a
people.
perfect
A
demonstration
great
of what right
inspiration.
wingers do in
And I hope
general.
you keep
Like,
going and just
Twitter
continue to do
sucked.
well.
It was run by a
we're gonna have
liberal,
a big
but at
election
least it
coming up,
worked. You
and
know what I mean?
I
It
think
sucked. There was a
November
lot of
5th will
issues,
be the
but at least
most
it fucking
important
worked.
day
It wasn't like a
in the history of our
Nazi-infested
country. I think that
shithole
election
where
will
like
be the most
pedophiles were
important
posting
election,
CSAM,
and I
and
think
then
it'll
like
end up
the
being maybe the
fucking
most
billionaire
important day in
baby
the history
who
of
was
our
a
country,
rabid sociopathic
because
Nazi
if
Yeah.
we
wasn't
don't win,
personally
I just
restoring
feel
the
so
accounts of
sorry
like
for
dudes who
everybody.
are distributing CSAM, child
No,
sexual
I think
abuse
we're at
material.
a Vulcan
Like
Lord of destiny of
that's what he did.
civilization,
That's what Elon Musk did.
and I
So that's the
think
difference.
we
Like,
need to take
yeah, Democrats suck.
the right path. And
Ultimately, there's like
I
a
think
basic level of competency
you're
that
the
they
right path.
demonstrate.
So
They
I think
keep the
that's where we
fucking
come from.
federal
Thank you
agencies
very much,
going.
Elon. It's a
Republicans
great
come
honor,
in
and
and they just
we'll do it again
destroy everything.
sometime, and it's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot.
Let us hear them talk,
Good.
please,
I
bro.
hope you
Sure.
got
They're
a
saying
Yeah.
goodbye to each other like
I know you got
lovers
a lot of them. So
who can't
I
hang up the
appreciate it.
fucking
I'll see
phone
you
first
soon.
for the past 25 minutes.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Bye bye. I'm still in the space. Let's see if anything else happens. They kept doing, no, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Thank you, Elon. One man's weakness is another man's strength. That the person who finally says fuck it, no borders is absolutely strongest because of the inevitable backlash. Yeah. No mention of JD Vance, by the way. That was crazy. I could hear Trump's fat ass clapping on the phone. Dude, I think there's something very funny about the cognitive dissonance that right wingers display on a regular basis, where they talk about like fucking elites, right? Bi-coastal elites, but then they love Donald Trump. They think he's like the greatest gift of all time to the average everyday working man. They also literally keep talking about like big pharma and how devastating that is and how fucking scary like big billionaire elites, society elites are. But then they glaze Elon Musk. Elon Musk is literally trying to put a chip in your fucking brain, dude. And honestly, you kind of deserve it. Like, you deserve to live in the Elon Musk dystopia where your brain is goddamn chipped by him. It's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me that this fucking dude is like such a villain, if not for his like glaringly obvious incompetence, is not seen by the broader public of his sycophants as like an actual villain. You wait.
Biden actually did something that was impossible.
Oh my God, he is slurring.
Both sides hate him. You know, both sides. Yeah. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
Yeah. No. I mean.
Biden actually did something that was.
Oh my God, Big Dog actually hit the suffering succotash. Like he fucking, oh my God, what happened? Oh my God, everyone's going to talk about the fucking, oh my God, everyone's going to talk about his lisp. Oh my God, he's going to hate this shit. Why? Why is he slurring? Yo, what the fuck? Wait, what? Chat, I'm a med student focusing on neurology. My money is on drunk over stroke. No, he doesn't drink. Med student focusing on neurology. Trump famously does not drink. He does not. Yeah, my mom just chimed in and said his brother was an alcoholic. Trump does not drink at all. There are photos of him like holding up an alcoholic beverage and it's all fake. He literally does not drink. He does do Sudafed though. So the likelihood of why he sounds like that is probably his dentures maybe in his mouth, but I don't think he even has dentures. My mom says in his age, I'm sure he has dentures, but he's a teetotaler. Yes. That's the word of what not drinking is. So the funniest part about this is that like everyone is going to be talking about the fucking lisp. And everyone's going to make fun of him for the lisp. And that is exactly the type of shit he hates. Because it's not calling him powerful and scary. It's not calling him racist. It's calling him a fucking loser. Okay? And I know this man hates being made fun of. Okay? Has anyone found Joe Rogan? He probably nutted too hard while watching this interview and died. He died. Yeah, I think that there was a lot of insane stuff going on. I don't think that, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that like this conversation is as crazy. Like when Elon was talking about like going to I think it was like Fukushima, the power plant and stuff, like a lot of people, I'm not like a big time nuclear Andy. Okay? Let me preface this by saying I too am afraid of nuclear power plants. Okay? They should be heavily regulated. We still don't fully know what to do with the waste. Having said that, however, okay, Having said that, however, like when Elon Musk was talking about being able to consume shit from like local vegetation or whatever, I don't think that that is that crazy. Like, I don't think that's how it works. I'll take the children of Adam disagree. Like when Elon Musk was talking about like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but they're now full cities again. That's great. That's great. Yeah. So it's not as scary as people think. I think he did a very stupid job of like trying to have that conversation. What he was trying to talk about is like nuclear fallout not being as severe as like people explain it. But let's see what the media is saying. Trump's interview with Musk devolves into yet another X catastrophe. I do think that it's insane to talk about deregulation and then talk about nuclear power plants and then nuclear weapons. That's wild. But if you don't understand why a fucking billionaire asshole like Elon Musk would be like, oh, I love deregulation, it's great. Oh, also they fucking talked about, they were excited about like firing striking workers. Did you guys catch that one? That was another incredible one too. It was so bad. The entire interview back and forth was so incredibly stupid. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. It was also boring as shit. But yeah, this part was crazy. Trump cheering on the idea of firing people who go on strike. That's not what Piers said. Yeah, who gives a shit about what Piers Morgan says, bro? What do you mean? He's a grade A glazer listening to Elon Musk and the real Donald Trump chat about trains just now was surprisingly fascinating. Love this X Spaces conversation. It's like two mates chewing the fat about the world's problems. People who hate them will hate it, but everyone else will learn from it. So here's the thing. There are a lot of guys like Piers Morgan out there who just like sucking up to power. And obviously Elon Musk, regardless of my criticism of him, is a pretty fucking powerful person. And so is Donald Trump. So that's all he's doing here. That's all he's doing. He's just like, he's glazing. He's glazing people in power. That's it. He's also a center-right figure regardless. Elon Musk had some really cool climate change stuff that he tried to Clay Thompson. What? No. Long for conversations like this is the way forward and should become mandatory in a political. Yeah, I thought we were about to have another fucking we were about to have another Kuzma situation on the timeline. What the fuck did he say the other day? What did he say the other day? He said like another Kuzma hit the tower. What was the Kuzma tweet? I forget. Anyway, what didn't he say? K-Hive is ripping him.
I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But you know, if you look at Argentina's Cutter.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah, dude, this is my favorite genre of like NBA tweets. Obviously, Kyrie Irving, who I do love and admire and respect, has had plenty of moments like this, sometimes way more damaging moments than this one. But this is the classic, like, I'm actually a really smart guy tweet, okay? Like, not really understanding the situation at all, but then just like, not really understanding the situation in front of him, but like still having a take, you know? Oh, all these threats to democracy have me thinking, why one party didn't let their party vote for a nominee? And it's like, it's just like such an obvious, it is such a fucking obvious, like, dumb guy who wants to fucking appear smart situation. Did you think this was Kyrie? No, but Kyrie has had moments like this as well, some of which are very famous. Okay? Like, it's the guy who wants to appear like he's got some secret information that nobody else has. Anyway, yeah, that union busting moment was so bad. That union busting moment was so fucking bad. You cooked me for the same reason a few weeks ago. I did my research after. Good. Who's tweeting like he's gonna get another max deal? I get all my political takes from Kuzma. Shut the fuck up, chat. Yeah. No one has ever posted harder than my goat right here, okay? Come on now. What tears? I didn't see one. Man, knock it off. That boy ate some lemon heads before walking into court. Come on now. That's the GOAT. Put some respect. Put some respect on his name, dude. I bet Sean O'Brien feels real smart speaking at the RNC now. Pff, I don't think he gives a fuck. Anyway, I mean, he's a little bit of a hog. Let's be real. So, I mean, anyone with a brain could see that Donald Trump is not actually pro-labor, chat. Like, what are we talking about? You think Sean O'Brien didn't know that? Wow, look at the copium coming in from Ben. Kamala simply could not do a 2-hour running interview without seriously harming herself. Everyone knows it. Yeah, the difference is all of the Trump loyalists, including Ben Shapiro, have already subscribed to the notion that Donald Trump is going to look like a fucking baboon when he does a 2-hour interview. Okay? This argument is so silly because the entire purpose for Donald Trump right now, the entire goal for the next 80 fucking days is to win over voters that either never want to vote for him again or maybe somehow magically have not made up their minds on him. Okay? And considering that he was already the fucking president, that's going to be really hard to find. So interviews like this, where he goes on for 2 fucking hours and rambles on and on and on and on over and over the course of multiple fucking ad breaks at the top of the hour that you can avoid by subscribing for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime, by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, or by getting gifted a sub if you're lucky. Use the 3-minute ad break now. But when he rambles on like this and says some like idiotic shit, he's not winning over actual new voters to his fucking campaign. So the idea that like Donald Trump is doing a great job doing a 2-hour running interview because he hasn't seriously harmed himself is silly. Okay? It's silly. He's not going to lose voters for rambling on and on in the same ways that he has, but he's also not winning voters. So he's just like he's not maxing out his use of time. He's not min-maxing. Okay? That's it. And that's the craziest part about this, because this interview is not going to get a lot of play except for all the lowlights.
They did fund
Yeah, here it is.
us. In fact, when they did fund us, they realized that we were illegal immigrants.
Well, I mean,
Yes, we were.
I'd say it's a gray area.
Yeah, yes, we were. I was illegal immigrants.
That's Elon Musk and his brother, who was Jeffrey Epstein's bestie, by the way, Kimball Musk, talking about how they were both illegal immigrants in the country. Anyway, so everything you're supposed to look for in an interview like this going forward, because like you're trying to win an election, right? You're not just trying to have a yap sesh. So your goal for Donald Trump, if you're Donald Trump's campaign advisor, your goal is to try to put him in unique positions that will potentially show him in a different light to those who maybe have doubts about voting for him, maybe have doubts about voting for him again, or maybe have doubts about voting for him at all, and try to convince those guys. Doing the same stump speech that you've done about 12 million Guatemalan migrants doing heinous rapes with fentanyl, like is not going to win new voters over. You've already calcified your base of support. Those guys aren't going anywhere, and you're not losing those guys either, but you're not actually gaining any new voters when you do that, especially when you do that on Twitter, right? I think you're missing the point that he had the highest numbers in Twitter history, maybe in the history of the world. Yes, you're right. That's true. There are 6 billion people, 8 billion people listen to this interview, and they loved it. So that's why when someone asked me earlier, like, do you think this will help Donald Trump or do you think this will hurt Donald Trump? Most things will hurt Donald Trump. Most things will not help Donald Trump. This is one of those things that will end up hurting Donald Trump, because for 2 hours, he went uninterrupted and he said a whole bunch of insane shit. Okay? He said a whole bunch of insane nonsense. And obviously the media is only going to focus on the hilarious failures of Twitter, once again, which is a platform that out of all of the major social media platforms that still cannot host a conversation between two people that isn't even like featuring video. I need you to understand something. Twitter Spaces is so busted, okay? How are we still, like, remember when I talked about this last time with the DeSantis thing and people were trying to correct me? Like, my tweets are still very much out there on the platform. I tweeted about it at the time. I was like, there are websites like YouTube that have 1 million concurrent viewers that are live broadcasting like things that are happening in real time with video. Like, this guy couldn't even do something that fucking Kick did, okay? Radio as a medium is hundreds of years old at this point. Is 100 years old. The notion that, like, you can't do something that radio is able to do, was able to fucking do with, like, way, way worse tech is crazy, okay? Elon said there was a distributed denial of service attack, except turns out that was a lie. Shocking. I know. Many of you will be shocked to find out. Here is The Verge. The rest of X appears to be working normally. However, and a source at the company confirmed to The Verge that there wasn't actually a denial of service attack. Another X staffer said there was a 99% chance that Elon was lying about an attack. The fact that this website literally cannot even work normally with like an audio distribution, an audio conversation, not even a video conversation, just an audio conversation is insane to me. This is a dog shit service. He also said hundreds of gigabits a second, which is not a lot for their scale. Other salient part of this conversation is Donald Trump coming across like he has a lisp. Everyone, and I mean even right-wingers, and their takeaway from this, no matter how cultish they are, will be that this motherfucker was slurring his words. It's especially shitty when you're not running against Joe Biden. If you were running against Joe Biden and you fucking were slurring your words, you could still turn around and say, guess what? My opponent, he's brain dead. Okay? He's a vegetable. So what are you going to do? Oh, yeah, you think I'm slurring my words? He can't even say words. Okay? But now he's running against Kamala Harris. Much more dynamic, much younger candidate. So obviously that is going to play really poorly for him. He also had that Biden stupid face moment, which I thought was hilarious. Two spoiled billionaire fail sons talking about how the Guatemalan dude trekking for 1,000 miles to come work here for pennies on the dollar is actually unproductive, which like was it pissed me the fuck off. And I also talked about how Elon Musk himself was an illegal immigrant for a short period of time. What is this? I try my best to take in information from people with different political opinions. The echo chambers and the bias that exist on the left and right are unreal. It exists on both sides. I wish there was a source of information I could use where the information was unbiased because Hasan ain't it. Yeah, the only difference between me and everyone else is that I will never lie to you about what my position is. Okay? Of course, I have a bias. Everyone does. The only difference is I'm honest about having a bias, and I will tell you what my position is. Now, I also will do my very best to not lie, to not misguide you, right? And you can look through verified sources that you trust to fact check me if you would like to. And when you do, you will oftentimes find out that I am correct. Anyway.
Nothing I do is performative. So I'm not going to, for instance, I'll use Hasan as an example. I'm not going to talk to a black person like Trihex and say, hey, the N-word, it's always black. What do you think, black people?
What a liar, dude. What a Weasley little liar, dude. What a Weasley little liar, dude. Holy shit, dude. Holy shit, dude. Literally lying. Still lying to his audience. Can someone at least enlighten Destiny that he's literally lying to his audience? What a piece of shit, dude. Holy shit. America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
We're there to partner with them. We're not there doing our own thing. We're there partnering and training
in a video
and
game,
equipping and enhancing their capabilities. So that's part of what we're doing. And the other part is just knowledge. We want to know what's happening.
Like we totally brought it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit. We did. We did in a video game. Amazing.